Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. We're just leaving the salt mines near Krakow in Poland, and we are going to continue our trip as we're going through the Carpathian Mountains. And Betty, I thought this was some of the most beautiful country that I've ever seen.
It is beautiful. Yeah, the greens and the blues and the purples and all of the colors just blend together beautifully.
Really, really something. And the thing is that we're still in Poland, and we're in southern Poland, and we're headed toward Slovakia.
Oh, okay. Marv, have I got a moment?
Sure.
Okay, I owe my good Polish friends an apology for the show that we had and about the little man up in the window.
Oh, you mean in the cathedral at Krakow?
Yeah, at the cathedral. We were never given an explanation of it, and so I didn't understand the significance of it, but I got a phone call the other day from someone that set me right. That was a very important historical moment for them because they were being invaded by the Visigoths, and this little man went up and blew the trumpet to warn everybody what was happening, and he was shot. And so that's the significance. Remember when the man fell?
Yeah.
You see, I was at fault not doing more research on it. So for all of you people that felt hurt by my remarks, I apologize.
And now we all know what the story is.
So now
right?
we know the story, yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Anytime. Anyway, as we see here, the hay is drying out here, and which surprised me is that the hay is drying on racks that I'd never seen before. They built sort of like a little A-frame rack type thing, and that's how the hay was drying out there. But look at these homes, aren't these beautiful?
They are beautiful. They must be very affluent here.
Well,
making their money farming.
Yeah, probably so, because the farmland just stretched on and on and on. It looked very, very rich and green and so nice. It was just beautiful. And I've always heard about the Carpathian Mountains and the mountain range. And in fact, I have to tell you something. After we had left Krakow and we were on the way, I was a little tired, so I went to sleep. And somebody finally said, Marv, wake up.
Look what you're missing.
We're going through the Carpathian Mountains, and you better take some pictures here or you're going to be in big trouble.
Don't you love the sound of the mountains, the
Carpathian.
Carpathian,
it's
right.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful. It just rolls on your tongue.
It does.
Once you learn how to say it.
It's like Visigoths, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Well, you can see here, I want to take a lot of little still pictures because we were going at a pretty good clip down the highway. But here's some of the older homes and then newer ones, too. And they must, Betty, I think, get a lot of snow in this area because look at the pitch on those roofs, huh? I just wonder, this wintertime, I bet the skiing was good anyway.
When you said, look at the pitch on the roof, it sounds like, well, they put tar, and you're talking about the slant
the angle
of the roof.
Right,
but
the slant, right.
Not tar on the roof.
Not tar.
Oh, okay.
No tar. And little churches here that you see going through some of the little villages on this main highway. And this is, I just think this is so beautiful. It really is. And we're heading down now toward Slovakia, which, of course, used to be part of Czechoslovakia. And as we're heading down there, we're going to see that all sorts of various crops seem to be growing here in this mountain area. Of course, a lot of hay. And there's some lumber, lumber business, I guess I should say, that they will see because we see some clear cutting on some of the trees and things. But I just thought this was just magnificent.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live there though.
Why not?
That's too isolated. I guess you have neighbors once in a while to borrow a cup of sugar or something.
There's a lot of houses there. What do you mean?
Yeah, but not right next. Well, yeah, you're right. Now we're coming into more of a. I'm thinking.
You
more
mean you don't want to live in the country, is what you're saying? Huh?
I guess I actually almost live in the country when living in Sanger, But I think I like a little more like this. I like.
You want to be if you want to be there, you want to be in a village, right?
I want to be in a village, yes, where there's some activity where I can walk up and down the streets. And stuff.
Listen, if you lived on a farm, there's going to be a lot of activity there.
Yeah, but not that kind. I don't want that kind.
Oh, you don't want that?
No, I want some fun activity. Shoot.
Okay. Well, I did take a lot of pictures here because I really wanted to share this with all of our viewers. This is, I thought, here's a one time you're going through this mountain area, and I don't know how many people from here, really get into to Eastern Europe as such, and I think some of us maybe have, preconceived ideas of what it looks like. I guess I really did, and that's why I was so impressed with what I'm seeing right here.
All right. Now we could say we are in Ireland, and
No, it's
with
not
the green,
true.
green, green.
Yeah.
Oh, not the hilly part, but
Hey, but look here. Now, this is good luck, right?
this is why
Storks.
they have so many babies there.
Is
Why
that
so
right?
many children are born? They have the storks up
The
there.
storks
You
up
see?
there. You're really you'll really buy into that, huh?
Why not? No, but aren't they? They really are amazing birds, and it's amazing. Oh, I hate that word, but up how they build their nest way, way up high.
Yeah, well, they get up there on top of the chimneys, you know.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they keep warm that way.
Oh no, because they're not necessarily up there in the winter time.
Well,
you meant for the cold from the cold, or
yeah, I don't know.
I just probably so predators can't get
Well,
to them
probably
and to
so,
their
yeah.
eggs.
Anyway, we're lucky to get some shots of them here. So there are the storks, and we're almost at the border. Well, I'll tell you, we have now crossed the border, and now we are in Slovakia. And the countryside hasn't changed too much, except it's maybe kind of flattened out a little bit, but there's still some more hills here. And again, this countryside is just really quite beautiful. And we really enjoyed all of our time traveling through this and seeing this. Didn't you think so, Betty?
Oh yes, good time of the year too.
Mm-hmm.
The capital of this country is Bratislava, which is down to the far west. The country is divided up into three regions: West Slovak, Central Slovak and Eastern Slovak. So to the east is to the left from here, as we are driving through the central region, and we're going to drive later on through the capital of this region, which is called Banstra Bystrica. So if we went to the east, to the left from here as we're driving, then we would come to the eastern part of the Slovak Republic, and we would come to the border with the Ukraine. You know, southeast Poland and the Slovak Republic, they border with the Ukraine. But we're going to drive from north to south of the Slovak Republic through the central region, and the population of this country is only 5 million. The total population of the country is only 5 million. Now, you probably think of Slovak as being part of Czechoslovakia. Then you'll be quite right, because Czechoslovakia was formed after the First World War. Before then, Czechoslovakia didn't exist, as parts of Hungary and former Yugoslavia, where they're fighting, still fighting, aren't they? And these countries were all under the rule of what we call the Habsburg Empire. The Habsburg was a family, a dynasty, which ruled mainly from Vienna. For over 600 years, they ruled not only over Austria, but also much of Europe as we know it today. So the first time the name Czechoslovakia appeared on a map was in 1918. Because after the First World War, the monarchy, the Habsburg monarchy, collapsed. I spoke about it the other day that a lot of European houses, the royalty collapsed after World War I, and Czechoslovakia was formed. Before that, it was part of the Habsburg Empire. Now, in 1993, Czechoslovakia split. And we have what we call now the Czech Republic, of which Prague is the capital, and which we shall be visiting in a few days' time. Monday we go to Prague, and we have here to the east, we have the Slovak Republic, and the capital of this country is Bratislava. They're totally separate. Since the 1st of January 93, they have their own presidents. You know, they have a Slovak president, they have a Czech president, they have their own currency. Here is the Slovak crown, which has nothing at all to do with the Czech crown when you go to Prague. So completely independent of each other. And that was started in 93, 1st of January 93, the two countries split. But before that, Czechoslovakia had only existed since 1918. Before then, we had never seen the name Czechoslovakia on a map. It was all part of the Austrian Empire under the Habsburg rule. Now the eastern part, you know, Czechoslovakia as it used to be, so we're in what was Slovakia. This was always a little backward, shall we say, compared to the rest of Europe.
And here we are in the little town across the border in Slovakia. It's Slovakia, right?
Slovakia,
Yeah,
Slovakia.
right.
Yep, it was named after somebody special, the guy that Slovak or something like that they named the town after him. A lot of reading on it, but you know, sometimes when you read this stuff, it doesn't quite absorb. It's just because there's so many changes that are made throughout the
when
centuries.
you change the name of a country.
Yeah. So you can do all your research and stuff, and if you haven't got it written down with really good notes, it's very hard to keep track of all of the different happenings, especially during this particular time.
And it keeps happening. That's the whole thing. Anyway, we stopped here. We had a little problem with the hydraulics on the bus, and this was a great place for us to stop because the Gypsy folks had a little carnival going right here where we were, and we were right next to the police station and also right next to a church. In fact, most of our people had the opportunity to go to Mass.
Yeah, it was great. I went over to see about making arrangements while we were there, and I don't speak their language, and the poor little old priest, he didn't speak English, and I got a little Spanish in there, a little with the hands and stuff, misa, and this, whatever, And anyway, he did get the message, and so while we were waiting, we went ahead, those that wanted to.
Did Monsignor Balker celebrate the Mass?
Yes, he did.
Couldn't he speak to him in Latin?
Well, he did. I went and got him finally. And,
did you?
And he did some, but it was hit and
miss,
yeah. But anyway, I got the message, and it was a great way to spend the time that we were there.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, as you can see, Erwin is in there trying to do his best, and he worked all night on the thing. We were able.
We weren't there though.
No. No, we were able to have another bus come and take us on into Hungary. But this was great. It was a great stop. We also had lunch there. We couldn't believe it. Three of us went. Betty, we had coffee, and we had these beautiful
pastries
and everything. And I think it was less than $1
sure.
for everybody.
Everybody. It was so cheap. Incredible. We went down and we bought some little pastries and some bread and stuff. Oh, golly, there was enough to feed the bus for $1.
Yeah, I know. It was incredible.
Just so
the
cheap.
$1 in Slovakia goes a long way.
It did.
And this was the church here where you went to Mass. In fact, they were also getting ready, because we were here for a little bit in the afternoon, they were getting ready for a funeral that they were going to have. And so about the time that I was able to get out with the camera a little bit, I decided that, I hadn't seen the church. And so I wanted to take a look inside. And this is the rectory right here. Pretty big rectory,
Very interesting, isn't it? The way it's built like that. Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Great man. He was very charming from what I could understand. I mean, very gracious probably is what I should say.
Well, it's a beautiful church here, as you can see. And it's built in, looks like it was 1641. We're going to go inside and listen to the organ. Well, it was nice that we were there to hear a little organ recital. Now we're going to hear a little
different
if
kind
we were
of
listening
music.
to
Look
a
at
little different
Deanna.
music.
She's saying to you, "Don't you dare take my picture, Marv."
Well, she's going to go in the fun house over here, and I think
that's
a
little fun.
Yeah, no, she's a good sport, and I think that's really nice that she's going to do that. Anyway, they had rock music going out here, so it was a little bit different than what we were hearing from the organist in the church.
Yeah, but I think all of this makes for fun.
Oh, it does. It does.
And you at first you think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Nothing happens. I mean, life goes on, and you make the most of all of the opportunities that present themselves to you.
That's true. And like we said, if we were going to have a bus problems anywhere, boy, this was the best place to be,
right?
Right?
And look at how quickly that was resolved.
Yeah, no, it was.
So
just
when
really
you deal with good companies, you don't have anything to worry. Well, you have some things maybe, because we can't control everything. No. You can't control.
But I'll tell you, everything just worked. Like you say, I think somebody's watching out for us on our trips and things.
Yeah, but I
just
know
having a great time.
we know who that somebody is. We can give him a name.
Yep.
That's good old God.
Yes,
he
I
just
think
really takes good care of us.
Anyway, tell me some more about Slovakia while we're here.
Oh, I would just love to tell you something about
'Cause
Slovakia.
we're on our way to Budapest pretty quick.
All right, I want to tell you though. Actually, it has the biggest growth rate in Central Europe. Now, can you believe
does
that little
have?
place? Yeah, 25% of the population too. It's younger than 15 years, so they've been
Is
very
that
busy.
right? It sounds like it.
And they have a good schooling system because the kids begin schooling. At 3 years old? Of
Boy,
course,
that's
that's
early.
like a preschool.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then from 6 to the 8th year, they go to elementary school. They don't have to go after that. They don't after, but the government insists that they do this.
Is that right?
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I love to read about their food, even though that's down your line. You're the food person, and I don't really care. But one of the things that they make the most are noodles from potatoes and flour and egg, and they boil them and they serve them with fried bacon and sheep's cheese. Now, how does that
Whoa,
sound
now
to you?
that sounds
How's that
good.
grab you?
Oh, that grabs me.
Okay, and then they have hearty cabbage soup.
Yeah.
Okay, wild game and fish, because there's the water's right there. You know,
Yeah.
it's available
Sounds
to them.
good.
Yeah.
Well, by now we have already, as you notice, if you're watching, we have crossed over into Hungary, and we saw fields and fields of sunflowers, and also you see some forest stuff up there. And I couldn't believe all the sunflowers, and I think on some other shows that'll be coming up as we get on the other side of Budapest, we'll see more of that, and really surprised me. But this is really beautiful. This is my second time into Hungary, and oops, looks like
Something
we happened
happened.
upon a
Yeah.
little accident, huh? I
Yeah.
guess somebody going a little bit too fast, because it looks like there was a head-on collision. Look at that. Oh, my
It
goodness.
doesn't look possible that could have happened there. Probably a flat tire.
Think so?
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
know.
the car swerved across.
Might
but
be.
Anyway, we're in a big bus.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry
We
about
don't
that.
worry about
And we've
things
got
like
good
that.
drivers.
Yes.
So that's even better.
Excellent, yes.
Well, now we have arrived at the outskirts of Budapest. And here's, I love buildings like that. That's
Yeah,
why I took
me
pictures of it.
too.
Not everything is real shiny and chrome and all that sort of stuff. However, there is enough of that too as you get downtown. But the older buildings and some of the buildings that we're going to go past, I think are just beautiful. I remember when I was there before, I did lots and lots and lots of walking around the parts of Budapest that probably where all the tourists are. I don't know, but anyway, and their architecture that we see here, and we'll see more of it probably on the next program. But as we get up on the hill and take a look at the beautiful, beautiful buildings.
Look how modern this is.
Yeah.
Very, very
well, that's
modern.
what I'm saying. There's still some chrome and steel there. And we're still not right in the heart of town, but we're getting pretty close because we want to get to the Danube River. And, of course, everybody knows about the Blue Danube. And there it is, almost at twilight time.
That's a big river, isn't
It's
it?
a
I didn't
big river.
realize how really the extent
Speaking
of
about
it.
buildings, isn't that beautiful out
Oh
there?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
Very
pick
nice.
up so many nice things on the camera, Marv. That. Oh, now see, that's a wonderful shot.
Well,
now that could be anywhere, really.
But it's not. It's the main drag that takes you from Buda to Pest and Pest to Buda.
But I mean, with the buildings on either side like
Yeah.
that, it could be in San Francisco. In
Well,
one of maybe.
Almost, yeah. I mean, you take a look at this architecture, like I say, and I'm kind of crazy for architecture anyway, and I appreciate the older buildings, and of course, maybe I talk too much about it. That's what kind of makes me mad. Why we've torn so many old buildings down here, but
We're learning.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, look, some of these buildings are centuries old and they're still standing. We can't even keep anything that seems like past the 100 years or whatever, if it even gets that far. But anyway, this is the main street, and there is a shopping street too. But we'll see on another program. But right now, let's listen to our city guide.
Here we are in downtown area, which the Budapest people consider to be downtown, from this great boulevard, which we have just crossed, down to the Danube. That's what is considered to be the city downtown area, where recently parking places are paying, and that's a new thing in Budapest. So far we didn't pay for anything for parking, but from this month on, yes. Here on your left-hand side already you see one of the old hospitals of Budapest, and the modern graffitis, as you see. And this was the first epidemic hospital of Budapest. that where Dr. Semmelweis was working, the one who was the savior of women, so-called savior of women. In the mid-19th century, when he was 28, he was already the head of the gynecology department here in this hospital, and was cautious enough and was curious enough to know why more than half of women died after childbirth. And he searched and searched enough, was interested enough, and finally he did find the cause, and the cause of childbed fever, and he introduced hygienic childbirth. That's why we call him the savior of women. If you look on your left-hand side, this white oriental-looking building was the first movie of Budapest. Still is a movie. On your right, this is the Jewish quarters, starting at the Eastern Station, which is at your hotel. If you noticed it, that's a railway station. A grey building just to the left of the hotel. And it goes way down to the Little Boulevard, where we are heading also. There are 28 synagogues all over Budapest, but only 22 of them are still in use. The Budapest Jewish community represents the 4th Jewish community of Europe, after Russia, London, I think Paris and Budapest. This is the crossing of the Little Boulevard. There are 2 boulevards crossed by avenues that run from the Danube. And that's why the map of Budapest is quite a simple one, so you can easily find your way. This starts to be already the very downtown, what the English would call the city, where there are most of the public buildings like big ministries, the parliament, big banks, the National Bank, the shopping zones and so on. The shopping zone is actually here on your right, so you can also reach it by this bus for which the people are waiting for, which starts exactly from your hotel, from the door of the hotel, and it comes like 4 stops and that's where you are. On your right, if you look now on your right, you see the shopping street. Downtown Parish Church on your right side. And the most beautiful sight in Budapest is offered from this bridge. If you look on your right, you see why Budapest is called the Pearl of the Danube, because it is spread on both sides of the Danube. We are now on international waters, actually, on the bridge. The Danube is international. You need a passport to get ashore. Here in front of you on the slope of the hill, now on your left-hand side, there is a young man standing as a statue. That was Gellert, a bishop who came from Venice, and he was the first martyr. He became the first martyr of Christianity, which he was not aware, I guess, when he came. In 1042, he was thrown down in a barrel by the still pagan Hungarians from that point of the hill right into the Danube in a much unfriendly way. And he finished his life there. If you look now on your right side, on top of the hill, you see the Royal Palace. That's where we are going to visit the National Gallery in a few times. Budapest, as you see, is a very varied city as far as the geography is concerned. There had been Slavs living here before the Hungarian conquest in the 9th century, and they gave names to different sites, which the Hungarians assimilated in their language, but only some words. So the Buda side, which would mean water because of the hundreds of thermal springs in Buda, this is hilly with valleys, and that's a residential area because of this. And the Pest side is a flat plain. That's why that part was more apt for the formulation of an industrial city. And Pest, P-E-S-T, is not equivalent to the Black Plague. It's not pest, even though it looks like sometimes when it's very polluted. But it's also of a Slavic origin and would mean probably pech, which looks like would mean oven in Slavic languages. And that's because, again, of the hot springs. Yeah. Now we are on the Gellert Hill still, which is the most It used to be the most elegant place in town until the mid-20th century. But now the real rich now move on to higher hills behind this hill, and they don't care if it's further away from downtown, but they want to be in calm, peaceful, human-looking areas where there is green. They can keep horses, they can have their own tennis courts and swimming pools and so on. So further up on the hills, and there are many palace-looking new buildings. If you look now on your right side, this building, this yellow one, costs, for example, $500,000 almost, with tennis court in the back and so on. So this is where the new rich live also, but more and more behind on the higher hills, which you will see in 2 seconds as we go to the top link.
Their money on it, and it is the
Wow.
oh, look at the view. Wow. Oh, look at the view of the city. Maybe they'll stop.
Franz Joseph erected it for his beloved Hungarians in the mid-19th century, and then when he was crowned, finally it was ruined symbolically and not anymore a prison. Now here is the best side, as you see, and we see the dimensions of the city. We will get off here at the Liberation Monument, left-hand side, and walk down.
Well, from here we really do have the opportunity to look over Buda and Pest both. And as you can see, the Danube River will be running through parts of our picture here.
Yeah. Marv, it's surprising how many people, myself included many years ago, thought that Budapest was altogether one, but not a division by the river. So two sections complete.
Right. And of course now, it's just referred to as one word, Budapest.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But it's kind of, unless you're there and somebody explains it to you. Now, wait a minute. Am I on the Pest side or am I on the Buda side? I'm not quite sure. Well, we must be on the Buda side because she said the Pest side was flat, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess that's where we are, hopefully. Because, the time that I was there before, I got totally turned around this time.
You mean you did that?
I never do that.
I know
I
you
always
don't.
know north, south, east, and west. But for some reason, I had it in my mind, west was east and east was west.
And never the twain shall meet.
No, not unless you go clear around the world.
But look at that. Oh,
Isn't that
Marv,
beautiful?
that's just beautiful. Yeah.
Now the Danube does look a little blue, right?
Yeah.
And of course it's what is it, about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, I think, about when we shot this. I think when we were out on our tour, and we're going to be doing, of course, a lot more touring of the city of Budapest and in our other shows. But anyway, we want one farewell shot up here of the fortification, and there it is. So. And, of course, it looks like they've kept that in pretty good condition. Hey, listen, if you're interested in any of the trips that we have coming up, and we've got some great ones, give Betty a call at
488-7443.
Right.
Slow
And
enough?
That's slow enough.
Okay.
And I hope everybody got this. Time for us to say goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.